Welcome into NBA Now here on the 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And Jimmy, we are on Kawhi Watch. Welcome into NBA Now. I am James Yoder with Jimmy Crowther. We are breaking down all the latest NBA rumors here on the 4th of July, starting with Kawhi Leonard. Jimmy, we are 6 days into free agency now, 5 days, and still no word from Kawhi Leonard. What is the latest?
It literally feels like it's been a month already that free agency has started. Like, I haven't slept since free agency opened on June 30th. I've been in the office all day, every day, just bringing you guys all the latest news and rumors. Of course, everything now hinges on Kawhi Leonard. He's the last big domino to fall, I guess you could say, in honor of 4th of July. He's the last big firework to pop off here in NBA free agency. And the newest report is that his decision may not come for, quote, a few more days. So who knows what that means?
I think no one knows anything at this point. Nope. I'm starting to believe the Illuminati-style conspiracy theories that he's just trying to make sure the Lakers aren't any good next year so the Toronto Raptors can have an easier time in the finals. I'm hearing all kinds of funny stuff out there, including the crazy rumor that we're not even going to get into that Jeannie Buss's nephew might be the one leaking things on Twitter and on Reddit. So that is the word there on just kind of where we come at. Chris Carter saying one thing, Jalen Rose saying one thing, a lot of rumors out there in Kawhi. But take us through, Jimmy, the top 3 teams for Kawhi. No surprise to anybody.
Yeah, and obviously this is not the order. It is not 1, 2, 3 here. We don't know what the order is. I'm starting to lean that the Clippers are becoming a distant third slowly but surely. I think the Lakers are creeping into that top spot, and then, of course, the Toronto Raptors as well. You can't rule out a return to Toronto where he literally just won a title. So it makes a lot of sense that he could end up going back. It would not surprise me. But look, man, the Lakers, they've got Anthony Davis. They've got LeBron James. I mean, they have 2 superstars. It would be by far, not even close to the 2 best players Kawhi has ever played with. Like, I know, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not disrespecting Tim Duncan, not disrespecting Tony Parker. They're not AD, and they're not LeBron James. So, obviously, there's some intrigue there, but we just can't rule out a return to Toronto. He was just in Canada yesterday. I mean, we saw a helicopter flying around following his SUV. So, like, at the end of the day, nobody really knows where he's going, but there are 3 teams for sure in the mix. We know that much.
Yeah, and from my perspective, I just am having a tough time understanding why Kawhi would want to go. He is much like your man Dirk Nowitzki. He has proven that the super team era does not need to happen to win a title. You know, he is one of the few NBA champions, maybe of all time, that's been like a single superstar to win a title. Again, you got to go back, 8 years ago to Dirk was really the last one that I see. Some could say LeBron, maybe in some, but obviously Kyrie was there, even though LeBron may have drug that team along. But we want to know from you guys. I'm going to ask you first, Jimmy. Ask you guys watching here on YouTube, our 4th of July free agency special. When is the time and date of the Kawhi announcement? And if you think you know it, baby, if you think you can tell it, we're going to hook you up with an awesome prize if you get it to the exact minutes. You got to send us an email, Kawhi@chatsports.com, and say, hey, July 4th, you can mention the time zone if you want. That makes it a little bit easier. But go ahead. We're in Central Time Zone here in the Chat Sports Studio in Dallas. Jimmy, want to know from you. Everybody start getting going in the comments section here live on YouTube. Also, email it. Start with your prediction, Jimmy.
My original prediction was July 3rd at 3:04 p.m. It is now July 4th at 10:33 a.m., so that obviously was incorrect. My new updated free agency Kawhi announcement prediction is July 5th. 5:02 p.m. I think it's going to be randomly just kind of early in the evening. Everybody's getting off work, but not Kawhi. Kawhi's ready to make sure everybody knows where he's going at 5:02 p.m. July 5th.
I'm going to go July 5th. I'm going to go 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central. Tomorrow night, late night. He's just sitting on a boat somewhere. Maybe it's in Canada. Maybe it's in LA. Who the hell knows? There was the Kawhi watch yesterday via the planes and helicopters and all that good stuff. But predict for us in the comments. Let's take a look at what that Lakers lineup would look like with Kawhi Leonard if he decided to go through the Lakers. Jimmy, we've got 4 names up there, and then the free agent TBD. So what does this Lakers team look like with Kawhi Leonard next year?
I mean, look, LeBron, at this point, he runs your point guard position. Rajon Rondo's still on the market, but I think you just let LeBron run the point, and you put a shooter in there at the 2-guard position. Like, heck, they just signed Troy Daniels. Whoever it may be, Kyle Korver, maybe they throw in Iguodala. They can literally throw anybody in at the 2-guard, and it makes sense because all that matters is that you have LeBron, you have Kawhi, and you have Anthony Davis. And then Kyle Kuzma is still an incredible scorer at nearly 19 points per game. I mean, the Lakers are going to be the next super team if this actually ends up happening.
And I'm not a big Anthony Davis guy. I think someone in the league 7 years should have more accomplished than he have if he's a top 5 player like many people think. I do not think. But if it was LeBron, Kawhi, and Anthony Davis, I will admit this is the team that has the most high-level talent, the best big three as far as just pure basketball talent and accomplishments. LeBron and Kawhi won titles as the best player on 2 different teams,
Yeah, absolutely.
2 different franchises. LeBron 8 straight finals. Kawhi basically ended the Miami Heat dynasty in 2014. Basically ended the modern, the Warriors dynasty as we know it in 2019. So amazing accomplishments for him on 2 different franchises. But what if he goes, Jimmy, to the Clippers? What does that team look like?
I mean, look, this is the sleeper at this point in the Kawhi race, in the Kawhi watch. But if he goes there, I mean, number one, he is automatically the number 1 guy, without a doubt. And then you have a young up-and-coming point guard in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who could be, I think, in the running for most improved player next season. Patrick Beverley comes back. He's a defensive-minded guy. If you have Patrick Beverley, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Kawhi in the same lineup, nobody's scoring on you, but they can still get buckets because you got Danilo Gallinari and Montrezl Harrell. Of course, Lou Williams is a 6th Man of the Year candidate. He'll be there as well next year. Should Kawhi decide he wants to surprise us all and end up going to the Clippers, I still don't think it happens, but I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility because nothing's out of the realm of possibility with this guy.
And so the Toronto Raptors, take us through the Toronto Raptors. What do they look like next season if they keep Kawhi Leonard on this NBA championship roster?
I mean, look, it is almost the exact same championship roster that they had. Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell. Maybe Danny Green comes back. He takes a pay cut, goes back to Toronto to join Kawhi Leonard. Marc Gasol came back on the player option. I think that was an incredible deal for them and for Gasol. Siakam is expected to take an even bigger step forward next year. Of course, you got Fred VanVleet coming off the bench, stepped up in big ways in the NBA championship. And look, OG Anunoby wasn't healthy almost all season long. I think he's an important player for them. He's an important defensive guy for them that can back up Kawhi Leonard should he return to Toronto, which at this point I still think is very, very likely.
Sure. And so who is the favorite in that scenario? He goes back to the Raptors. Is it the Raptors or is it this Lakers team with LeBron, Kuzma, and Anthony Davis?
I think you got to give it to the Raptors there because you look at what the Lakers would bring in potentially if Kawhi leaves. It's like a Danny Green, a Marcus Morris. Maybe they just bring in Korver and Iguodala. That's great. Those are great pickups. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't push you into automatic favorites for the title. I think you got to let the defending champions have that reign.
All right, so we've got some more Kawhi Leonard news coming up here, Jimmy, in just a second. Before we get to that, want to tell you guys about the MyBookie hookup of the summer. We need one of those rap horns. The Yeah, you got it. We're hooking you guys up with the NBA jersey of your choice. Got to be a current player, though. If you get going with our sponsor, MyBookie, go to the website at the bottom of the screen, chatsports.com/NBA now. It's the name of the show, guys. Pretty easy to remember. Chat NBA is your promo code. It should populate for you there. When you make your first deposit, $50, $100, $200, $300, we will send you a free jersey. To redeem the free jersey, you've got to email promo@chatsports once you make your first bet. So don't be sending us an email saying, hey, I want the free jersey, unless you get going with MyBookie. It is the best deal. We are hooking you guys up without question. Make sure you're going with MyBookie, chatsports.com/NBA now. Promo code ChatNBA. Let's keep it moving, Jimmy, to the New York Knicks and their egregious, crazy decision that came out late last night that we're reporting on here this morning, that they chose not to take a meeting with Kawhi Leonard. What world are we living in?
Look, if I have one word to explain everything going on with the New York Knicks, from the time of the trade deadline to now, it's abysmal. I mean, just abysmal. If you're a New York Knicks fan, I don't know how you're still surviving right now because it's so sad that they said, oh man, Kawhi Leonard, apparently what the rumor was is that he wanted to wait until Wednesday, aka July 3rd, to give the Knicks a meeting. The Knicks said, nope, we're not going to wait on you. We don't have time. We got other bigger fish to fry. And so they said, hey, we're going to go chase our guys. Forget about it. We're pulling our name out of the race. It's July 4th. Kawhi hasn't decided. You could have had a chance to be the last meeting for Kawhi Leonard, but you pulled yourself out of the race. Fire James Dolan. I want to see a bunch of Fs roll through in the chat. Just F for fire James Dolan, because it is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. All of that, plus they said they didn't want to give a max to Kevin Durant. So the 2 best players on the market, they say, nah, we're good. We're gonna go chase bigger guys. And you know who they ended up chasing?
This
is it.
This group of, Tom had a great saying the last couple of shows, the best bench in the league. But, I mean, I get Julius Randle's had a nice kind of turnaround after a rockier start with the Lakers, got shipped out of there. But this is a pretty pedestrian group of guys, Jimmy. And the fact that for basically the 10th offseason in a row, not every single one of those,
right.
but 2010, 2014, 2012, 16, 19, every other year basically, Knicks fans convince themselves that the biggest two stars in the NBA are coming to New York. LeBron, KD, I mean, they got Carmelo, but he didn't turn out to be as good as they thought he was.
Right.
And now they're going to get Kyrie, they're going to get KD, they're going to get Kawhi, and they get none of them. And the fact that they're not going to offer a max or they're going to have any sort of, bluster about when the meeting is going to happen with Kawhi is absolutely ridiculous. So this is the signups. Here's the current Knicks lineup. What do you make of this lineup next year for the New York Knicks?
Look, it's better than what it was. You've got Dennis Smith Jr., you got Alonzo Trier, Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle. It's definitely better than what it was. And then you add in guys like Wayne Ellington, Reggie Bullock, Taj Gibson, and Bobby Gibson Bobby Gibson. That's Boobie Gibson. Bobby Portis off the bench. It's a team that I think can fight for an 8 seed.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're a Knicks fan, that's better than sitting in the lottery once again because I know they're tired of that. I just find it hilarious that last season Zion Williamson was asked while he was at Duke. He was like, what do you think about teaming up potentially with KD and Kyrie in New York? And he said, it sounds like fun. Not one of them ends up in a New York Knicks uniform.
Well, didn't he laugh at some point about it, too? They're talking to him and RJ in the locker room at one point. But the New York Knicks have had a pretty pedestrian, pretty awful offseason, in my opinion. We're going to know from you guys here watching on YouTube live on 4th of July. Got 1,200 people watching, so thank you for spending your holiday with us. USA. Grade the Knicks offseason A, B, C, D, or F. Light up the comment section. Let's go. Jimmy, give me your grade.
James, there should only be one option up there because expectations matter when it comes to the New York Knicks.
I'm just going to get in the comments here. That's me, guys, typing F right there.
It's an F.
That's me.
Look, a good recovery, I'll admit that. But, hey, if it weren't the Knicks, if it were anybody else that had signed these guys, you would have said, dang, they had a pretty good offseason. But it was the Knicks, and they were expected to get everybody, and they got nobody.
All right, plenty more rumors coming here on NBA Now Live. 4th of July morning, Kawhi Leonard. We are waiting on the decision. Jimmy and I slept at the office last night thinking that what happens if we announce in the middle of the night, we got to be first on air to bring it to you guys. So let's hear it from the pristine Chat Sports NBA Now audience. Where will Kawhi sign? Which team will he sign? Lay up the comment section. Type R for Raptors. Type C for Clippers. Type L for Lakers. Jimmy, let's put our cards on the table. Let's put our cards on the table. What are your thoughts?
I'm going Lakers at this point. I am finally at a point where I'm pretty confident that that's where he's going to end up. And it looks like most of our audience agrees with us. There's a lot of L's rolling through the chat. I see a couple R's, not a lot of C's. Clippers are kind of out of it at this point. But, I think the Lakers have like a 50-40 edge. So it's not a lot, but it's just enough.
I'm going to say Lakers as well for just really one reason. I look at the history of the NBA. If you take the meeting, you leave. And if he leaves, like Steph Curry comes back, Clay comes back, there's a lot of other guys, Chris Paul last year, they don't go out and shop themselves and then come back to the team. If they go shop themselves, they've always left the past 10 years in this free agency, big 3 area in the NBA. So I say he leaves. If it goes there, I'm going to say Lakers. But keep in mind, though, just keep this in mind for one quick second. There's no one in the history of the NBA that has gotten better and more free agents than Jerry West, who is now basically like the consigliere of the Clippers. Also, the Clippers GM that's been there for about a year, Mike Winger, was the assistant GM for a long time in Oklahoma City. So don't count them out. Do not count them out. And don't count us out, Jimmy, because we are almost at 125,000 subscribers here on the Chat Sports YouTube channel, which was our goal by 4th of July, and we are going to get there. Thanks to you, the audience. We got, 1,300 people watching. So if we just get a half of you guys, we're there. 125,000 subscribers. No one is providing more NBA content this offseason, draft, free agency, all throughout the summer than the Chat Sports YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe. We're going to keep refreshing this number. Want to make sure you guys are subscribed so you never miss a show. And when we go live, when Kawhi makes a decision, we will be the first live. We're going to be ESPN TV. We're going to definitely be here on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe. We'll update that number here coming up later in the show.